Hello, everyone. Dr. Vicky here speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center. It is time to look at the week ahead. This is the second week of August 11th to I believe the 18th. We'll look at it when I bring it up. So let's get started. Yeah. All right. So before we, a couple of things. Before we get into it, I want to welcome all my new subscribers. Thank you for joining this lovely community. My earring has just, oh, goodness gracious. I wasn't expecting that. Thank you for joining this community. It's a great group of folks who like to see why things perhaps are happening, what's the energy of things. And of course, to all my tried and true who've been following me for years, thank you, thank you. I appreciate your support. So we're going to look at the week ahead, but I wanted to just briefly go over some of the numbers just to sort of bring it back to you, although I don't think you've forgotten about the numbers. Because we're actually feeling the numbers. So we are in an 8-year vibration. We know this. I've talked about this every month since January. 8 is a vibration of manifestation. It's a vibration of as you sow, so shall you reap. It is, of course, the 8 is the infinity symbol, sort of brought up this way, in a sort of instead of being horizontal, it's vertical. It's the energy of as above, so below. It's the energy of as we sow, so shall we reap, right? It's that constant flow back and forth and back to the middle. We also are in an 8-month, so this is a double 8 vibration. We just had the 8-8 portal, 8-month, 8-day, an 8-year, and that was a very potent portal. There was a lot of problems with the internet that day. There was a lot of glitches and a real sense of a shift in the energy patterns at that time. And then, of course, when we add these two, the month and the year vibration together, we get the 16-7 vibration, which is the vibration of the tower. Now, what's significant about that, especially this week? August falls on the 8 vibration, the vibration of August, the 8 vibration, the vibration of the year, falls on this path on the tree of life. This is the path of the strength card, right? Double 8. When we add it together, we get a 16. That actually is located here on the tree of life. And if you notice, these are sort of 2 rungs on the ladder of the tree of life, so to speak. And so we have the 16-7 energy, the tower energy being expressed. The tower energy is associated with the planet Mars. What would Mars be in this week? Well, Mars is in Gemini, and what else is happening this week is that Mars and Jupiter are making a conjunction. That's a blending of the energy in the sign of Gemini, and that activates the August 2024, both the vibration of August and the vibration of 2024. And then with Mars, this being activated and Mars being the energy on this Gemini energy gets potentiated on many levels, right? So we'll look at that and we'll see what that says about things. So I'm just going to run through the first 10 days very quickly. If you're wondering what that was all about, you can check out my week ahead, the first 10 days of August, if you like. We're looking at, yes, August 11th to the 18th, starting with Monday's first quarter moon. And I bring up the first quarter moon because last week we had the new moon in the sign of Leo. It was at it was on the 4th. It was at 13, I believe 13 degrees of Leo. Now we've come to the first quarter of that lunation. And lunations are month-long cycles. And they do indicate the energy of the month. But months are small periods of time. But when the lunation cycles align with larger cycles, which is what's happening, especially with this full moon coming up, then they took on a little bit more presence and prescience. I think that's the word I want to say. So we have a first quarter moon crisis in action, the sun at 21 of Leo, the moon at 21 of Scorpio. This is particularly important because Kamala Harris, the nominee for the Democratic nominee for president for this election, has her Mars at 21 degrees of Leo. So we know that this first quarter moon, the sun is illuminating her Mars, her actions, her perhaps aggression, right? Her aggression. So we'll see how that sort of goes, how that works out this week. On the 14th of August, we have Mercury make an inconjunct to Pluto. Mercury just made an inconjunct to Neptune last week, and Mercury is in what we call a Yod configuration with Pluto and Neptune. Actually, now I said it's inconjunct Neptune this last week. It's actually going retrograde, so it has yet to be inconjunct to Neptune exactly, but it is in a Yod configuration. We'll take a look at the chart. It's hard to just describe it if you're not looking at it. Also on the 14th, and this is the big day this week, the 14th, Mars conjunct Jupiter at 17 degrees of Gemini. We have the head of a robust young man. Hold on, let me see something here. The head of a robust youth changes into that of a mature thinker. So there's this energy of developing the mind here. And then also we have Mercury retrograde. Oh, here it is, Mercury in conjunct Neptune. It's not happening next week. It's happening this week. So we have Mercury retrograde back into Leo, and then of course making that inconjunct to Neptune, which is still sitting at that last degree of Pisces, been sitting there for a long time, won't be out of that last degree of Pisces. We'll move into the second to the last degree of Pisces come September, but this is August, and that's what we're talking about. So what I'm saying is this Mercury is now in is being utilized as an the point of God's finger, the Yod. All right, we'll look at it. On the 15th, Thursday, we have Mercury in conjunct Neptune. I just said that. On the 16th, August 16th, that's Friday, Mars makes its first quarter square to Saturn. This is a crisis in action. Mars and Saturn conjoined back a few months ago on the exact same day that that ship hit the Francis Scott Key Bridge and brought the bridge down. A few people died, unfortunately, in that. Luckily, it was under repair, so there wasn't actually traffic on the bridge at that time, or a lot of traffic on the bridge at that time. And they did have a little bit of a warning, and they stopped traffic, so they didn't lose more people going over the bridge. That was pretty intense. And now we have the two planets that made that conjunction at that time coming to a first quarter square, which is always about a crisis. And then we have Mercury retrograde make a conjunction to the sun on the 18th. When Mercury conjoins the sun, when Mercury is retrograde, it's considered the highlight of the Mercury retrograde. It is the time when we must go into the underworld. Mercury goes into the underworld, right? To come at and in a realization. There's some sort of revelation that happens as Mercury conjoins the sun. And we have Mercury retrograde conjunct the sun at 27 degrees of Leo, a daybreak, the light of a new dawn. Everything has its alpha and omega, each part of this eternal cycle is blessed with light. So we have a revelation, we have a breakthrough. This is happening at 27 degrees of Leo. 27 degrees of Leo is right about where we have Donald Trump's Mars, right where we have J.D. Vance's Venus, on both J.D. Vance's and Donald Trump's ascendant. It is also trine Kamala Harris's moon. It is trine Tim Walz's Jupiter. Big shift, big changes happening at this time. We will see what that means. We don't quite know what that means yet. And we could guess, I imagine, but let's just see what happens. Astrology is the practice of observation and correlation. I am not a predictive astrologer. I don't want to, in a way, I like to talk about the energy that's available to us, but I am not one to limit what's going to happen. I can have my best guess, but I'm not always right. I don't always know. We just know that something's happening. We just don't always know exactly what it is, because as we know, we have free will and we can utilize this energy through our choices, Okay, so let's look at each of these charts. We're looking at the Monday chart, the 12th, the first quarter moon. Let's see, where's the moon? Here's the moon, 21 degrees of Scorpio, making a square to the sun. Now, this is a chart for Washington, D.C., so apologies to those who aren't in America, but we see the sun being in the 10th house, and then the moon being in the first. The 10th house, of course, is the house of authorities, presidents, the most public house. And then we have the moon in probably the second most public house. The first house is sort of how we put ourselves out there. So this is an emotional combination. It's also a fixed combination. And fixity usually creates even more of a struggle because there's a stubbornness to sort of stick to your guns with this. So we have a crisis in action on seeds planted at the new moon at 13 degrees of Leo. If we remember the Sabian symbol for that, it was an old sea captain rocking on his porch, peaceful contemplation. I always kind of see Barack Obama as that sea captain rocking on his porch, mainly because this occurred on his birthday. It could happened on the 4th, actually. But now we're at that first quarter square. We have the sun at 21 degrees of Leo, as I said, on Kamala Harris's Mars. It's not her exact. She actually has Mars at 22 degrees of Leo when you round it up. But the sun at 21, chickens intoxicated, avoiding spiritual confusion. We must open the secret knowledge at the right time and in the right way, acting upon ill-defined feelings of potential. Okay, square the moon at 21 degrees of Scorpio. A soldier derelict in his duty, conscientious objection. Sometimes we must follow our own conscience and face the consequences of society's disapproval. Being true to ourselves. So there's some confusion. These symbols are not the easiest on their own. And then when you square them to each other, we can see that while there is a certain direction that things are going, there's still resistance. And I think that this resistance is a healthy resistance. I think this is an opportunity at this time in our evolution to really make gains. But if you're afraid to disagree, you can't make the gains. So I think that's important. All right. So on the 14th, this is the big deal. This is one of the big deals of this month, and that is the Mars-Jupiter conjunction. Now, this happens every 2 years. Mars has a 2-year cycle with all the other planets from conjunction to the next conjunction. Mars is a planet of energy and Jupiter is a planet of expansion. And so this shows us the expansion. And Jupiter is also learning. We learn through Jupiter. We come to understand the parameters and the big picture. So this is a big picture energy that we're seeing at this time. And it conjuncts at 17 degrees of Gemini. This is conjunct Donald Trump's North Node. This is square Kamala Harris's Venus. Let me see what else is I'm trying to think of who else has things at this degree. The head of a robust youth changes into that of a mature thinker. Rational persuasion, using mature and well-reasoned argument to bring another to an unemotional understanding, recognition of our youthful emotions, and maturing towards wisdom. This can be, as it squares Kamala Harris's Venus, Pluto, and Uranus, this may be a challenge for her to hold the ideas and the ideals of the youth who don't have the experience, but have the verve and the drive to make big changes. So there could be a struggle for her in that she's trying to work with this very youthful energy that is part of her sort of the energy of her campaign, is part of the wave that's moving her forward, without making them feel like they're not being heard, even if some of the things that they're saying are things that she maybe can't quite deal with right now, but are points of contention. All right. If you look here again, I pointed out that the conjunction occurs on the path of August, on the path of 2024. As we sow, so shall we reap. So things will come. If you have sown good seeds, you will get a good harvest. If you have sowed seeds of despair and hate and anger, that is what comes back to you. So we will see at this time things coming back to people, things they've said, things they've done, things that they put their energy towards. So I know you guys don't have anything to worry about. I don't think I really have anything to worry about. So and worry is a useless commodity anyway. One of the things I do want to point out, that on the tree of life, this path that's getting activated by this conjunction here on the right, this right here, is completely energetically completely in the throat chakra. The throat chakra is the element of the throat is vibration, how we vibrate. So our speech, the things that we say, are so very powerful at this time. So you want to say things. You don't want to just blurt stuff out. You need to think about, you need to consider what you're saying, because there's a lot of power in your words at this time. So you will have to hold yourself to a higher standard here, because it will benefit. It will benefit. This is the chart for the US here. Again, Washington, D.C. This conjunction occurs in the eighth house of banking other people's money. Just something to consider, And 8 is a vibration of manifestation. The vibration of the day is the 4 of Wands, which is about coming together in celebration, So we will see what this means. We do have the moon actually in an opposition to this, interestingly enough. The moon in Sag speaks of truth, actually, and it is oppositional. So there can also be some sort of foreign incident that I would definitely, in America anyway, I would definitely consider, excuse me, I have an itch on my ankle. I would definitely consider some information about other places on the planet. The sun is on Kamala's Mars here. All right, let's continue. So then we have, what day is this? I forgot. What day? 14th, 15th. Hold on one second. Let me go back for a second. I didn't put the day here, which is unusual. I usually put the day. All right. We have the Mars retrograde, the 15th. Yes. Nope. 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 So we're looking at Friday the 16th. That's what we're looking at here. Okay. Friday the 16th. Sorry about that. So what we're looking at is the crisis in action square between Saturn and Mars. So back in April 10th, we had a conjunction of these two planets, Mars and Saturn. This was the day of the Francis Scott Key Bridge accident, collapse. This cycle, the synodic cycle, a 2-year cycle, started with this conjunction at 15 degrees of Pisces. The day that it occurred was a 22-4 vibration, a Uranus vibration. This is the Fool card. So this is about jumping into something completely new, someplace we haven't been before. And we certainly can understand that we have experienced a lot of things just recently that we have never experienced before. So that's sort of in theme with this. But let's talk about that initial conjunction. It says 15 degrees of Pisces, an officer preparing to drill his men. Before being able to close any cycle in life fully, there must be an evaluation of what has occurred, a balancing of accounts, and the facing of karma. Now, of course, we're in a karma year, right? 8 is a karma vibration. When this is externalized into life events, we must expect to encounter some significant danger, a danger that has so far been perpetually and forever avoided. By anticipating this, we can make careful arrangements, planning and equipping ourselves as best we can for the certainty of an immense challenge. So this is the symbol itself is indicating an immense challenge, and we have been through some immense challenges. So this is not news really to us, but we'll continue. It is better to take instruction and focus very clearly before we encounter our nemesis. So this is asking us to be prepared for really, in a way, unthinkable things. And we certainly have seen plenty of those. And here we have this conjunction. This is U.S. Energy. This is the Washington, D.C. chart. And it did happen in the 6th house of health, service, military service. Okay. Now, here we are months later, and Mars is making this first quarter square to Saturn. This will be the only first quarter square Mars makes to Saturn this year. In this cycle, Mars at 18 degrees of Gemini. 2 Chinese men conversing in their native tongue in an American city. The solitude of the spiritual seeker. To the general population, it seems as though the seeker is very odd and speaks a strange language. That would be us, guys, by the way, if you're wondering who those seekers are. Enjoyment of solitude and spiritual practice of self-reflection. In a crisis in action square, remember, Mars is an energy of action. Now we have a crisis in action square to Saturn, the Lord of Karma. Geez. At 18 degrees of Pisces. In a gigantic tent, villagers witness a spectacular performance. Well, hasn't that been the Democrats of late? We cannot expect our message to gain validation and popularity or even much attention unless we are willing and capable enough to focus outwardly with the intention of self-exposition. It is time, guys, to get out there and shine your light, even if it's a light that not everybody is going to be happy that you're shining. Better. If everybody's so pleased with you, then you may not be shining your light in the right place. Not to say that if you are shining your light and everybody's pleased with you, that it's a bad thing. It's not, but the light is an equal opportunity exposer, right? So be prepared, guys. And the Sabians, the vibration of that day is actually 32.5, which is the 6 of Wands. 6 of Wands is the path of life for the U.S. It is also the shadow of the U.S. and it is also the shadow Kamala Harris. So we'll see how this manifests itself. This square in her chart is actually activating her nodes, and she does have her Venus at her Venus sits actually she's having her Venus return at the convention, but her Venus sits right about here. So this is focusing on her Venus and her action. So we'll see how this manifests itself. Crisis in action, time to get it out there. We also have let's see. We also have on the 18th, Mercury making a square to Uranus, Mercury and Uranus square. Now, what's interesting about this square is that the last time we had this square, this is the second of three. The first one was the day that President Biden stepped down from the nomination and backed Kamala. That happened on that day. Of course, that was the full moon day. That was all kinds of energy. We remember what that felt like, right? So there was a square of Uranus and Mercury, crisis in action, something unexpected, an unexpected announcement. We're going to have this again because Mercury's retrograde. And then we're going to have it again once Mercury goes direct, and I believe that happens in September. So this illumination, this sort of revelation, interestingly enough, this began on May 31st, the cycle between these two planets. Says here on May 31st, 44.8, Kamala Harris's outer personality vibration and Tim Walz's shadow. So they are part of this, it seems. There was a conjunction, right, of Mercury and Uranus at 25 of Taurus, a vast public park working collectively, right? That's the whole theme of this Democratic convention and the message, working together. Yes, we can kind of energy again. Belonging to a tribe or community involves us in working together towards shared goals that we enjoy, participation in community responsibilities. Well, isn't that a wonderful theme? And here we have this energy. We can see that this back in May, on May 31st, this happened in the third house of media. Let me tell you something. Media is not our friend. Media is not our friend. Now, August 18th, we're at a 34.7 vibration, the 8 of Wands. Information, guys, more and more stunning information. Okay. Mercury at 28 degrees of Leo. Again, Mercury is on Donald Trump's Mars, his ascendant, Vance's Venus, Vance's ascendant. Also trine Kamala's moon, trine Walz's Jupiter. Just I don't know, just lots and lots of information. That's what I want to say. Okay, so Mercury's at 28 degrees of Leo, many little birds on the limb of a big tree, to focus upon opportunity, provided we function within the scope of our ability to concentrate the attention. Our opportunities are numberless. This is about focused intention, guys, focused intention with Mercury in a square to Uranus. Uranus, the wild card, right? 28 degrees of Taurus, a woman pursued by mature romance, perpetual new beginnings. Limits of the physical body need not stop us from staying alive to new possibilities and opportunities. This is very exciting energy, new information coming in. I think we're going to have another sea change of a sort. And then on the 18th, we have Mercury make its inferior conjunction to the sun. We're still in this 8 of Wands energy, Mercury in Sag energy. This is about truth. can be about truth, can also be about lies. Sagittarius can lie like anybody else. This can be lots of opinions, but it's also lots of information and energy, and we can see with this card here. Mercury inferior conjunction to the sun, the light of a new dawn. Everything has its alpha and omega, and each part of this eternal cycle is blessed with light, being renewed moment by moment. And so don't get caught up in the one thing that's being said. Understand that we are in a process of becoming, and we will be distracted through some of the things that come up, but we need to focus on what we want to accomplish. What do we want to see? What's the world that we want to see? That's what we need to focus. I do want to point out that this conjunction is also in a trine to Eris. There's Eris in the first house. I can't find my little cursor. Somebody said that they can't see my cursor. I can't see my cursor, and I don't think there's a way to make it bigger. I'd like to put like a big pointy finger or a big thumb or something. I don't think I can do that with this. So apologies if you can't see where the cursor is. Half the time I can't see where it is. But this is Eris, the goddess of discord. In a trine to this conjunction. This conjunction being on Trump's Mars. Something's up with him, guys. Something's definitely up with him. And what else do I want to point out here? There was something else, I think. Trine. Yeah, I do want to point out that next week, which is the week of the, in fact, Monday, when we have the full moon, next Monday, not this coming Monday, we also have Saturn square Jupiter, which is part of a 20-year cycle coming to evolutionary crossroads. So we will see how that manifests itself. But we are in for more excitement, guys, in for more excitement this week. So as I said, you don't want to, every piece of information is I think going to hit us like a bit of a shock wave. Just allow the wave to move through you, and the next wave comes, and the next wave comes. Don't focus on, it's a process. We're in the process of becoming. So do your best to, the fact that you know that it's coming is a benefit to you, because there are people out there that have no idea it's coming. But there's going to be wave after wave after wave, and we are moving through a very potent time. There's all kinds of things. I mean, we're really focused on what's going on here with the election, and honestly, of course, why wouldn't we be? You know, our choice is going to be an important one, despite what the media says and does, and they're all there, you know, whatever the heck they're doing. We need to follow our feelings. We need to follow the joy. We need to open up to love. We need to dispel fear. And there will be some things that come our way that will make that would normally probably make us fearful. But use your light as protection. Above, down, inside, out. Pull the light in from spirit, ground it into your feet, and then expand it out into your aura and your environment, and you will be protected as we move through this very potent time. Plus, as you do that, the dark corners will be lit, and we will see what we need to see in order to make the best decisions to move forward. All right, guys, have yourself a great week. Check me out every morning in the garden. I will talk about that. Next week, we're going to be doing Mystic Sisters on Saturday, or this coming week, we'll be doing Mystic Sisters on Saturday. It will be on my channel. I will let you know about that. We're also going to be doing full moon, a full moon that will be on his channel. We'll be talking about the full moon, which is just like, anyway, enough of that. Have yourself a great week, and take care of yourselves. Self-care is real important. If things get too overwhelming, unplug, go out into nature, listen to the birds. It is so healing and helpful. Take care, everyone. Namaste.